Welcome to Lubavitch channel. So every year in the 770 in the biggest yeshiva, we have the guys from Lubavitch. Every group of four or five guys, Tmimim, which we call, have their own track of Mifsoim they going every Friday. We're talking about a group of 4 or 5 students, young Chassidim, Tmimim, that go to Mifsoim every Friday, and on this track they have certain stores and offices and places they're going through and putting on tefillin and talking to Jews about becoming more closest to Judaism and so on. And they're going to this track. Right before the end of this track, they have office of a law firm. In this law firm, they have lawyers, not Jewish lawyers, and Jewish lawyers. And the un-Jewish lawyers was pretty friendly and pretty nice, but they cannot put on tefillin. You cannot talk to them about Judaism. And the Jewish lawyers was actually pretty slicky. They didn't let them put on tefillin. And the owner of the firm used to see him and talk to the secretary and tell her to let them leave the place. So there was every Friday, and every Friday they came and tried and so on. One of the Fridays, when they're going to the subway, they're going down in the steps, they hear the train moving, meaning they missed the train. So they have to wait the next train. When they're waiting for the next train, one of the guys, the name is Chaim, was captured in the eyes of this Mexican guy. He used to sell small stuff like ties and bow ties and pants and so on. And he sees this guy. He's telling him, "Listen, you look nice, you need a tie." And he didn't understand what did he want. He explains, "You have a white shirt and a black pants, you need a tie. A black tie will be perfect for you." And he's not like, "Let me, I don't, try." No, he didn't walk. And this Mexican guy sell them a tie. He did it a price. He gave him a cheap price. Instead of $7, it became to $5. So the Mexican guy putting it on for him. And there was like a laugh between the guys, and they're laughing on this occasion, what just happened, this event. They see the next train coming, and they have to go up on the train and go into Manhattan to keep on for Mifsoim. And they actually did, and the train is coming to Manhattan. They're starting the track when he's with the tie on, and they coming right before the end of the track. They come into the last law form, as we talked about, and they're coming up to the stairs. They come into the secretary, the desk of the secretary, and they ask who want to put on tefillin, like we know. And suddenly the owner of the law firm came, and he's asking them, "Who are you?" And they say, "We Chassidei Chabad, we messengers of the great Lubavitch Rebbe, and we want you to put on tefillin," like they did every Friday for the last, 5 months. This guy, looking at them, sees Chaim with a tie, of course, as we said, and putting a finger, and asks them, "Come with me." And he's actually coming with him. And when they come into his office, he closes the door and asks them to put on tefillin. Now, they put on tefillin, and Chaim has to ask, "What happened this week? Every week we coming, every time we come in on Friday and asking you to put on tefillin, you actually not putting on tefillin, let's put it this way." So he's telling him, "I will explain." And he's telling a story. In his story, he's explaining, "You think we are so successful, but not always. Sometimes I have a problem with the economy, legal problems, sometimes mental problems, and so on. One of the days when I'm thinking about those things, I walk in the office and I see one of the cards that you guys left here. And in this card, you have the picture of the Rebbe." And I'm telling to myself, that's what can help me right now. And at night, I dream the Rebbe. And the dream, I'm asking for the Rebbe help for the things that I need help with. And the Rebbe is telling me you have to put on more in the Torah. You have to put on more you have to add in Torah mitzvahs, which is the commandments of God to the Jewish people. And he's asking the Rebbe how. And the Rebbe is telling him, I'm sending you every Friday a group of guys to put on tefillin. Why you do not put on tefillin? And so he sent the Rebbe, look, they dress like so sloppy. No one has a tie. And the Rebbe is asking him, tie do you want? I'm going to get you a tie. And actually Chaim came with a tie on, and he did put on tefillin. As we know, every parsha is split to, let's put 7 parts. You can say 7 or 8 parts. In this parsha, Parshas Boy, in the 3rd part, right before the end, God commending Moses to ask for the people of Israel to go and borrow silver and goldware from people of Egypt. Now, I want to put you in the situation. We're talking about the specific time that God already put on the people of Egypt 9 hits, which started with the hit of the blood, which every water become blood, and the frogs which came up the land of Egypt, and so on. And he has to put one more. He has to land on them one more hit, which become the hit of the Bechorim, which is every the firstborn child getting killed from the Egypt people, and just landing on them this last hit, and they done. They come out from Egypt. Actually, the goal was accomplished. Why now? Why God asking Moshe to wasn't commanding him to go now and borrow silver and goldware? So in the Gemara, which is one of the first oldest books, there is certain discussions. You can see very interesting things. The Gemara there says that in the times of the Alexander, the king of Mukdon, and the people of Egypt came to people of Israel and asked for the thing where they borrowed before their redemption from Egypt, and they asked for the silver and the gold. So the people of Israel in this time explained to him and answered, if you want those things, first pay up. Pay the payment which you should pay on the work which we did back there. 600,000 people worked for you, double the years. You should pay this, and then we're gonna talk. According to this, the Rebbe says we have 2 ways to explain. The first way, the first explanation can be that the money that we took, the silver and the goldware we took, there was actually a punishment for the things they did to us, for the work that we did. The second explanation, it's actually a payment for what we did. The silver and the goldware, the money that we got borrowed and got, was actually a payment for the work that we did and the suffering that we've been through. The Rebbe keep on and explaining that it doesn't make sense to put on the explanation that was a punishment. The people of Egypt got punishment to go and pay us the money. Doesn't make sense, because God commanding us go and borrow. Borrow has to be from their own free will. There is no way you can borrow something from someone if he doesn't want to give it to you. You have to take this from him. You cannot borrow it. So the Rebbe says the money that we got, the silver and the goldware that we got, and all the possessions and the properties was actually from their own will of the people of Egypt. The Rebbe says that as we know, the exile in Egypt was a process of clearness, a process of getting ready and getting clear and getting holier and becoming ready to the receiving of the Torah in Mount Sinai, which we see when he coming. So being being in exile, meaning we've been through a certain process of becoming ready and holiest and and clearness and purest to the receiving of the Torah in Mount Sinai. The Rebbe explained the process of this clearness, the process of becoming more pure and more holy, expressed themselves by the people of Egypt giving us from their own free will the silver and the gold ware. That was actually, but this process of clearness was only the beginning. The redemption from Egypt was only the beginning of the clearness of the entire world, ready for the great redemption which will happen B'ezrat Hashem, in the help of God. That's why when we left when we had the redemption, when we left the Egypt, and we did it in a great hurry. As we know, in Passover, we eating this tiny white crackers that was supposed to be a bread, because we didn't have the time to go and bake it as it should be, and let it become high and full as a bread supposed to be. And we did those crackers, as people call this. That's one of the signs that we actually left in a great hurry, because we want to run away from this evil, from this badness that used to be there. As we know, the land of Egypt was full of ungood things. Then when we left within a great hurry, we just ran away. In the coming and the closest redemption, the world not just being bad, the opposite. The world gonna help us to become into this level and going through this process in order to become to the great redemption, Geulah, the full and the great redemption. And that's why on the Geulah it says in Yeshayahu, in the Bible, in the Tanakh, not in a hurry will we go out. Not in a lo b'chipazon, not in a hurry will we go out, because the world will be different and will help us to become ready for this redemption. As many people said, YouTube is actually one of the great signs of the redemption, because as you know, YouTube is the place of everyone can find anything they want. So basically people help each other on this net they called YouTube. So we're asking you to help us and put in a like and share and talk to your friends and subscribe and so on. And I just want to tell you that you have a great Good Shabbos. And until the next video, Lubavitch.